All right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen of all ages over 18, of course, because that's how it goes on my channel. Or, of course, if you're not a boy or a girl, perhaps you're an attack helicopter. Who am I to say you're not? Welcome. Today, my very, very special guest is Sophie. And she's going to tell us, really, all about her journey into the carnivore diet, how it happened, what was happening beforehand, what's happened since. All yours. Tell us all about it.
Thank you very much, Bart. It's lovely to be here. So I came across the carnivore diet actually from Jonathan Griffiths, who is my partner and now my coach. And he kind of told me about it because I said, I wanted to lose body fat. I want to gain muscle at the same time, just be a bit more healthier, be a bit more happier with how I look. And previously to meeting him kind of 2 years ago, I had lost 6 stone in a year and was practically doing carnivore, but with vegetables, and didn't know. And then obviously when I met him and I said, I've just had a baby, I want to kind of, get back on it. And he was like, well, why don't we try this? And he's, doing it with me as well. And I was like, all right, what's the worst that could happen is I'll lose some body fat. Gave it a whirl. And I was a bit dubious at first because I thought, am I really going to be okay? Am I going to be able to mentally be fine with just meat and eggs, thinking that's not going to make me full? But my God, it does. This size portions, and I'm like, I can't finish this. What's happening? I think I've been on it about 14, 15 weeks maybe now. And I've lost, I think it's like 12 kilos. Gained muscle at the same time. Great coach, he plans my gym sessions, and because I've got 2 little kiddies, I have to always work out with one of them, sometimes both of them. So my time is very limited.
One on each arm.
They do help out. The little one's got her own little barbell, and the big one sits on the workbench while I do my sit-ups. Counts them for me. So he's managed to plan my workouts to fit around my life, which is great, because I don't have an hour to spend in the gym, an hour and a half to spend in the gym. Do you know what I mean? So he's managed to kind of get me a program which is helping, and it is helping. I mean, I don't see much, but then I'm my own worst critic. I think we all are. So yeah, and I've noticed so many benefits from the carnivore diet. My skin is a lot better. I've always suffered with my skin, whether it's just a hormonal woman, I don't know, but my skin has always been so bad. And even other people like my mum and everyone has noticed that my skin is improving a lot. My energy, I never thought I'd have this much energy with 2 young kids, being up all the time, especially when they don't like to sleep, which is quite often. And it's improved so much. And I'm like, wow, learning how to understand my body as well. Never known how to do that. Always had a problem with, I don't know whether you'd call it binge eating, whether it's to that kind of extent, but I'd always obviously make the wrong food choices, and you'd always just want more and more. And I'd never understand my body to know, no, I have had enough. It's the sugar in it that's obviously making me want more and more. But now I've learned how to listen to it and what it needs. And this carnivore diet definitely helps. And I know there's people out there going, well, it's just meat and eggs and cheese. It's so boring. It's actually not, because we've thought of so many different ways to have an egg. We've made them into wraps. We've made them into noodles. We've made them into a waffle. All carnivore, don't worry. I don't need to hand in the card.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes it so much more exciting that you kind of play about with what you're allowed to have, and you get all these amazing recipes that, taste really good. And I'm sure he's mentioned his secret butter bite recipe that he's told me to keep under wraps still.
All right. But
we make them, and to get, fat into the diet, because there's only so much butter one can eat. Never had so much butter in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's all round. I've not noticed any kind of negative effects, to be honest. It's all been really positive.
All right. So has anyone had a bit of a crack? Has anyone sort of suggested to you that this is not a good idea and, what are you doing and all of that?
A couple have said, surely you can't just eat that. And whenever I've said, oh, I don't eat that, they're like, well, what do you eat? And I say, meat, eggs. They're like, well, surely that's so boring. And I'm like, no. My cousin, Linny, actually does carnivore, but she never knew about it. And it wasn't until meeting Jonathan that I then heard about it. And I said, oh, my cousin does that. She just eats chicken, fish, and eggs, and that's it. And that's what she used to lose weight. And she just stays on it because I'm a creature of habit. And she's been doing it about 6 years now. So every time my mum says, oh, that must be boring, I'm like, ask your cousin. She does it. She's done it for a lot longer. My mum did try it, actually, because she saw the results I was getting and she wanted to try it. She lasted a week, bless her. I think it was more mental to get out of her ways, because she was like, well, I still like my little sweet treat in the evening. And I was like, well, that's where we've made butter bites, so that satisfies our kind of sweet craving without wanting more and more. But she couldn't. As soon as she found out it was just butter, because it's obviously been drilled in that butter's fattening when actually it's not. And she's like, no, I can't eat them. She's like, I can just taste butter. And I'm like, really? Because I can't. So yeah, they do kind of say, surely it's boring. How can that fill you up? Because they've even seen, like Jonathan's portion, and obviously you've seen the size of him. He's 6'1". He's not a tiny bloke, and his bowl is sometimes smaller than mine. And they're like, surely that's not going to fill you up, and it does. He eats 5 times a day. I only eat 3. I don't have time. But yeah, we get the typical comments of, that's boring. How can you just eat just that? And only one's tried it. The others, I don't think they would try it. So
right. Okay, so has anyone sort of, had a crack at you and suggested that it might be unhealthy or dangerous in any way to not be eating vegetables and fruit and fibre and all of
that? They have said, where's your vegetables? Like, you need vegetables. And I'm like, you don't. There's no nutrition value in them. And the sugar, you want more and more. And then trying to explain to them, that's why you can eat a pint of grapes in one sitting, because of the sugar in it. They make it moreish and you just want more and more. But yeah, I don't think they still kind of get it. And I'm like, let me get Jonathan to explain it. He explains it so much better than me.
Oh, that's a cop out if ever I heard one. Yeah. Oh dear, dear.
I just pass it to him and he'll explain it to them.
Fair play. Hospital pass.
I still don't think they get it. I think it's obviously drilled in to get your 5 a day, and all of this is really good, and you need this you need carbs in your diet, whereas actually you don't, because the protein and the fat that you have will do what your body needs it to do. And obviously there is carbs in things, do you know what I mean? Yeah. But I think it's trying to get out from what's been drilled into them, because I was the same at the start. I thought, when he said, oh, I don't eat a single veg, I thought, surely we need them. And then obviously when he explained there's no nutritional value, and I went to a health spa in August with my friend, a little mummy break, and I sent him a picture of the menu, and he was like, did you say health spa? I said, yeah. And there was like kale. He was like, there's nothing healthy on that menu. I was like, I can't stick to carnivore this weekend. There's nothing.
Yeah, the world is not geared up for people who have got this sorted out and have worked out what an appropriate species-specific diet is. You're quite right. It's one of the difficulties, isn't it, when you're going out anywhere, or when you're going away, or, those kind of things.
Yeah, eating out is definitely difficult.
Yeah.
I don't know, obviously, what it's like where you are, but here, if I was to try and eat carnivore out at a restaurant, it's bloody expensive. Yeah. And I don't have the funds to buy 3 different meals just to eat a piece of each meal.
Yeah.
And they're not very nice in going, oh, we'll just call it this price, because do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, what we do here is we just stop in, basically.
Yeah, we do. We mainly eat in. It's only really like birthdays, like it was my dad's birthday the other month, and we went out for him, and I pre-looked at the menu, and I was sent it to Jonathan to be like, right, this is what I'm thinking. Do you think that's the best choice? And I just picked like chicken and chorizo, and then I had like a bite of potato because I asked them to change it from chips to boiled, and I thought, well, I have to have at least a bite of it. I did make them make different. So, and then that was it. So I thought that was the easiest way to do it. But some restaurants, they don't have a simple meal like that. It's all ridiculously expensive as well. So it's like, we just don't bother.
Yep, same here. I mean, we live half hour, 35 minutes from the nearest town.
Oh, wow.
On a farm, which is nice.
Oh, nice.
We get groceries delivered, so we don't have to go and do that. The only time I actually leave this property pretty much at all is to go to cricket training or to go and play a game of cricket.
Oh, right.
Rest of the time I'm here working away, making videos, finding out who's been wrong on the interwebs this week and putting them to rights and doing that. So going to town is just not something that we do. We might go and have a meal at a place called the Smoke and Barrel, which is about half an hour from here, maybe once a year on a birthday or something. And we'll get like a share. It's like this share plate thing, and it's just like 7 or 8 different sorts of meat piled up on this. Yeah, and it's like it's called a meat lovers thing, and there's nothing else on there really to speak of at all except the meat. So we get into that. That's good.
Jonathan would be in his heaven on that plate.
Yeah. If you guys ever get over here, sing out, and we'll definitely hit the place up and say, right, let's make this happen. The one thing they don't do here, and it's probably not a bad thing because you're probably not into that anyway, but they don't do good beer.
Do they not? Oh, that's a shame.
No, there's nowhere in New Zealand you can get a proper live culture ale. It's all just lager, and more lager.
I drink lager because it's cheap.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
Obviously not anymore. But yeah.
That's it. No, not. You'll have to hand your card in for that. Goodness me, we'll be straight. Tell you what. He'll be after your card if he catches you drinking.
Not Ted.
Oh,
I wanted one.
Yes.
I wanted one, but I haven't.
Ted's been undertaking his camouflage training again. Not bad, is it? It's pretty good.
No, it's good.
Yeah. All right. So the next kind of obvious question is, as a mum, as someone who's, bringing up a couple of little uns, what are you going to do with them in terms of their nutrition? How are they going to be brought up? How are you going to deal with because you're going to get some kickback if you decide.
Oh.
Yeah. So have you thought about all of that? How far have you got down that track? Where are we going there?
So the oldest is 5. And obviously she eats kind of
everything that moves.
Everything that, you probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
But trying to change her taste buds is very difficult right now. She used to love like scrambled egg. And then she just all of a sudden stopped. She went through the whole, fussy stage and half still there. So we're trying to get like eggs and cheese into her because she doesn't like cheese unless it's on a pizza because she doesn't think it's actually cheese. But if I was to give her a piece of cheese, she's like, I don't like it. I'm like, okay, it's the same as what's on your pizza, just not grated. But sure, we roll with it. So we do try out, different recipes. She does love the carnivore spaghetti bolognese that we make. She loves that. So we're trying little bits here and there to then hopefully be able to eat what she should eat, to keep it healthy. And then the little one is only 5.5 months. So I've said as soon as she kind of gets teeth, she can have, a rib or whatever. But at the minute, a little bit tricky when she's just gumming everything.
Yeah.
But again, probably the same of we then end up all eating the same thing. And I think if we get a lot of backlash, I will just asked Jonathan to explain all the techie ways that it actually is, because some of the ways he explains it, I don't understand.
Right.
So he has to then re-explain it in a way that I get it. And I think I then mis-explain it to other people and not use the fancy terms that he uses. So, yeah, they will eventually be on carnivore diet. It's, changing a 5-year-old's habit who does spend time at nannies, who obviously doesn't get it, is difficult, can be a battle. But I'm hoping by the time the younger one is eating like proper foods and stuff, the older one will see that, well, youngest is doing it, and she might then do it too. It's a little bit of a battle in our house.
Yeah, I can imagine. And they're obviously going to be weightlifting champions, these two.
Obviously.
Yes.
The oldest has said we're the Hulk family, but she says hog, not Hulk. So she does, you've got muscles like Jonathan, Mum. I mean, not quite, but thank
you. Yeah.
I don't think so. I'm working on it.
All right. Okay.
But yeah, she flexes her muscles, bless her.
Yeah. All right. So, do you have any doubts in your mind? Are you at all concerned that this carnivore diet is not going to be sustainable long term? I mean, you're only a few weeks in, really, yourself.
Yeah.
Is there anything in the back of your mind that makes you think, this can't be right, or this isn't,
No, I think even long term, the only issue is obviously going out, and thankfully I don't have much of a social life, so it's quite helpful. But that's the only problem, is going out. But then depending where, like we went to a wedding the other month and we took our own food. I mean, I did pre-warn the bride that that's going to happen. And obviously friends are quite supportive, so they're like, yeah, like I don't know whether you can have what we've got here. Turns out we could have, but we didn't know that until we got there. So going to other people's houses is a lot easier because we just take our own food. We have no shame. We bring our little Tupperware box and we're fine. We don't expect them to, cook any different or cater for us. We'll bring it. But thankfully we don't go out that much. It'll only be like as a family. So yeah, I think long term, pretty easy. I mean, I kind of mix up what I have. I can't do what Jonathan does, and he has like just beef, mince and eggs like all the time. I had it for 3 meals in a row and I was like, I'm bored of beef now. I need to have something else. Can't do it.
I suppose if nothing else, it's quite an easy one to say to someone, oh, we have to eat this way because we're bodybuilders. This is a special thing for the protein we need in that, so that's why we're doing this. And I guess that would... I mean, I couldn't necessarily take my own food to someone's house and say, oh, that's because I'm a bodybuilder, because they'd go, you're a bodybuilder. You're what?
They don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm, what am I, 63 or 4 kilos dripping wet.
Still have the muscles under the jacket. No one knows.
I have a bloke for that. I have a bloke to look after, playing the heavy and doing what, if anyone needs sorting out.
Oi! Do it.
Oi! This is the bloke that he plays the heavy for me, so that's taken care of. He's got a truncheon and everything, so it's
handy.
Very, very handy indeed. Yes. All right. Well, early days.
Early days.
Early days. Nothing negative's happened.
No.
Give us a rundown on the positives in terms of your health. What's happened? What have you noticed other than just the weight loss? And that's great, awesome. What else?
So the skin's kind of cleared up. My energy levels have improved, which is fantastic. The fact that I have 2 young kids, and because Jonathan doesn't live with me half the time, it's just me. And then I'm trying to think now. My knees are less clicky. Like I notice when I'm in the gym doing the squats, because I use my uncle's gym because it's free.
Mm-hmm.
Then he walked past and he's like said hello, and he heard the clicking of the knees, and he was like, bloody hell, that's like my knees. went all right. And they've definitely improved, which,
Yep.
I mean, I'm no scientist. I'm assuming it's inflammation around the knees.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
But yeah, just understanding my body and, you know, feeling satiated and not having the, you know, oh, I want to eat this and I want to eat that. I don't have that. So I don't then go, well, I'm going to raid the cupboard and just eat crap and then feel like shit afterwards. Don't get me wrong, I have my moments. I'm a woman, I'm a mother. I have my stressful times.
That sounds like an Alanis Morissette song, doesn't it?
But thankfully, you know, we've made butter bites and I'll have one of them and be fine. I mean, I would say I don't get as poorly, but currently, as we speak, I have a cold because the kids have a cold.
Yeah.
But considering, you know, the weather change and the fact that my kids pick stuff up from everywhere, I don't get as ill as I used to. And if I do, it's not as bad. It gets kind of worse for like one day, and then I sound like this all the time. So which is, you know, always a bonus. No one likes to feel like crap for long. And I think so far that's it. Oh, Jonathan got me to do my blood sugars because when I was pregnant, I had gestational diabetes.
Yeah.
And that's, they reversed it. It went when the babies came out anyway, but then he was like, I think you're pre-diabetic, and that's, I'm not anymore.
Okay.
Which is good because it runs, you know, diabetes runs in the family as well. So he was like, you kind of have genetics on your side, but we have, you know, put a stop to that, which is good. And I think I was luckily, touch wood, I didn't have too many health issues before anyway. It was just, you know, the pre-diabetes, the bad skin, and the no energy. So thankfully I didn't have that much for it to fix, which is, you know, always handy.
Yeah, awesome. The other benefit, I think, that in general, when you talk to people who are carnivorous, even for a short time, it does seem somehow, and I can't explain it really, but it seems to make people seem and appear younger than they probably are.
Well,
now, for example, you know, people, when I tell them my age, they hardly ever believe me. If I was asked to guess, I would say, you know, you appear to be probably still in your 20s, I would guess.
Yeah.
Now, I suspect you're not. Would I be?
I am.
You are still in your 20s? Okay. Cool.
I am.
Yeah. All right, good. That's fine. So when you have been carnivore for a couple of years, you might look like a teenager. By then, who knows? Who knows? I might look like a teenager if I keep going. Probably not going to happen, is it? All right. Very, very good. All right. Well, that being said, I think that covers it off pretty well. That's how carnivore stories go. We just get people on and they tell us how long they've been carnivore, what they've experienced so far, depending on, you know, how long they've been carnivore. Anything you want to leave us with in particular? Any sort of words of wisdom or?
If you're contemplating it, just give it a try. What's the worst that's going to happen? Do you know what I mean? Do it for a month. And if it's not for you, you can say you've tried it. But you never know, it might actually help. You know, and if people don't know where to start, they're welcome to, you know, message me on Instagram and I can help them. I can then give them my coach's details, Jonathan Griffiths, composition consultant. Fantastic and good value as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's a good lad. Yep.
Single mom on low income and I can afford it, then
he better be giving you mates rates.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. Quid pro quo, for goodness sake, surely.
Oh yeah, definitely. But it's still, you know, I'll look at his website and I'll look at the price and I'll say, well, you know, from somebody in my situation, I could, and if, you know, there's probably a lot of young mums, single mums out there not able to earn much, thinking, I really need to do something, but I can't afford a PT. No, because they're extortionate.
Yeah.
Whereas you get all the PT perks without having somebody watch you work out, not really doing anything anyway, and you get diet on top of it. So
bonus.
For less.
Awesome.
Bonus.
Awesome.
But yeah.
All right. So if people want to get hold of you, can they do that? And if so, where do they find you, etc.?
I'm on Instagram, Fisher Sophie Lou, which I can spell out if people need it.
Yeah, go for it.
People do spell my surname the German way, which is quite frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it really. There's not much on Instagram. I'm not as good as socials as I should be. But yeah, they're welcome to message me on there if they have any questions or they just don't know where to start. Happily help them out. Awesome.
Okay, so spell out the Instagram address for us.
So it's FISHER and then Sophie, SOPHIE, because people do spell that wrong as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lou, LOU.
There you go. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Couldn't be simpler. All right, so there you go. That's yet another n=1. We're up to n=, I don't even know how many now. There are hundreds of thousands of people who are actively involved. In fact, not probably, millions. There are definitely millions of people who are actively involved in carnivore lifestyles now, who are around this kind of community of the online YouTube /Instagram /Twitter sphere / just the whole online thing. It's not some crazy cult-like fad. This is the diet that human beings and our descendants have definitely been eating for the last 4.5 million years. This is how we're evolved. This is the appropriate natural diet for human beings. And Sophie's story is just one more of those that backs that up. All right, stick around the channel. Much, much more happening this week. Really, I won't say exactly what's happening because it really depends when this comes out as to what's coming. It'll probably be tomorrow morning. I might even put this one up. In which case, what's coming up is yet another critique of our favourite brainless personal trainer, Gillian Michaels, who wants to say all sorts of things about stuff. So we'll be putting her right. That's coming up. Live Q&A is coming up on Saturday night for most of you. So stick around the channel for that. And those of you that don't stick around the channel, you can expect a late night visit from Yellow Ted, and he will bring his bucket of soapy frogs with him. So, all right, we'll leave the final words to Sophie. In the meantime, catch you next time. Sophie, see us out.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you for watching.
Yep. Thank you for spending your valuable early morning time. This would be about the only time that you would be free of ankle biters. So thank you for giving that up for us today. We appreciate that. And say good day to the boy when he's compos mentis for us.
I will. He sends his regards.
Very good. All right. See you, boys and girls. Ciao
See you later.